Hey, what's going on, everybody? Today we're doing a deck profile on one of my favorite decks, Giratina VStar. I'm quite fond of this deck. I've played it. This is the only deck that I've played during the 2023 championship season. I played it all through Paradox. I got a couple really good placements with it and some regionals this year. And this is my take on the new deck list for Temporal Forces. We lost a couple good cards, like we lost the 4 Battle Pass and the 4 Path to the Peak. Those were obviously very strong cards, but I think the deck still is strong enough to hold its own in the new Temporal Forces meta. It's got a couple new cards, and we'll go through the list. Start things off. 3 Tina V. It's pretty standard. I've pretty much only ever played with 3. I don't really see a reason to go to 4. I know we lost the Battle Pass, so finding the Tina V is a little bit harder now, but going to 4 just doesn't really seem worth it. I've put about 80 hours of testing into this deck, this format already, and so far it's felt like really, really strong. Next up, we got the 3 V-Stars, pretty stock. This is all still pretty much the same as before. We just added a handful of cards. We got the regular 4 Comfies. That's probably never ever going to change. And then we got 1 Cram, 1 Radiant Greninja, and 1 Sableye. Don't really see a reason to go to 2 Crams or 2 Sableyes at the moment. There's a lot of the new basics that they just have too much HP, especially with the Ancient Booster Capsule. So it's really hard to chain these back to back and want to have a reason to play more than one. Whenever a Giratina V's Shred attack is usually pretty good. But this is one of the cards I'm super excited for. It's the new Iron Leaves EX with the Rapid Vernier ability. It says whenever you play this Pokemon from your hand onto your bench, you may switch it with your active Pokemon, and if you do, you can move any amount of energy from your other Pokemon to this Pokemon. This is basically your Charizard killer, especially if Charizard stays super, super popular. This, you might as well play it in the deck, whether or not you're playing it with a Nest Ball or you're actually I found that it's really hard to actually just have it in hand and play it and then shoot it to the active. I found it a lot easier just to Nest Ball for it and gate to it. The Charizard matchup still feels... It's still hard. Even with the leaves, especially whenever the Charizard decks are playing the Radiant Zard, they can kind of pin you down if you don't have another backup attacker outside of the leaves. You can't just solely go in with the leaves. So it makes the Charizard matchup a little weird, but it sure does help. As far as the supporters go, I've got 4 Colress's Experiments, 2 Boss's Orders, 2 Roxanne, and 1 Iono. I was never a fan of the Iono in the Paradox meta, and now, if you're not playing Iono, you are probably going to lose to Great Tusk if people do decide to pick up that deck. I'm also not really playing... It's kind of tough to decide whether or not to keep this or want to play it. I never ever played it in Paradox, but I'm putting it in here now. There's a lot of my locals are picking up Great Tusk, and without Iono, it feels miserable to play against it. So now that that's gone, go on to the item cards. Got 4 Nest Ball. I used to only play 3, but now with Battle VIP Pass gone, obviously we're going to go to 4. Here's a new card. We got the Buddy Buddy Poffin. Start your deck for up to 2 basic Pokemon with 70 HP or less, and then put them onto your bench. I'm only playing 2 of those with an Artisan. I haven't really missed the Battle VIP Pass, to be honest. As many games as I played, yeah, Battle VIP Pass is nice, but it's also I haven't really missed it, which is kind of a weird thing to say. But the Buddy Buddy Poffin just helps a little bit just to get your Comfies out of the deck. Up next, we got the 4 Mirage Gates. That's just stock. And then here, I've got 2 Pokegears. I will not touch this deck without Pokegears in it. I am a firm Pokegear believer. If you are not playing Pokegear in this deck, you're just asking for a bad time. I know a lot of people's biggest complaint about Lost Tina is that it bricks a lot. You want to play as many cards as you can to make it to where that doesn't happen. I have not really missed. It does feel bad when you miss a gear, but your odds of hitting any kind of supporter that's could be relevant is pretty high with the gear from what I've seen. Up next, we got the switch cards. I've been playing the two switch cards and then just two hard switch, even through Paradox. I know a couple of the lists, especially some of the lists that won, they were just playing the four carts. I'm more into the double switch, double cart because I hate having a V-Star in the active, and then whenever you go in for that lost impact at 7 and then you're stuck at 9 and then you have like no energies in place, you have to have a gate. So if you ever get Iono'd and you're at 9 in the lost zone and then you just have a Tina active, having to pass from that just like really sucks. So like having an extra out to that is kind of cool. Up next we got the escape board. I think that if you're playing any kind of lost box deck, you need to be playing like one, maybe two of the rescue board. I think that this plus the jet energies in this deck, they combo quite nice because you can actually get one additional switch per turn without having to require another switch card. So really powerful card to include into the deck. Up next we got the two super rods, pretty standard. I would love to play 3, but there's just absolutely no room to put it in. Up next we got a lost vacuum. I think the lost vacuum is quite handy now because especially with all the capsules and like all the amount of tools that are in the format for the Temporal Forces meta, I think having this additional vacuum, especially for where's that guy, the Raging Bolt, if that actually becomes a thing, hitting 290 is kind of tough. So having the vacuum is pretty cool. I know you can hit like the 280 and then clean everything up with Sableye, but it's a lot easier just to take this knockout. Plus it boosts you ahead in the lost zone. So I kind of like it. I mostly use it for that, just to get me ahead into the lost zone. Especially hitting the turn 2 Greninja, that's kind of sick. Up next, we got one counter catcher. And then we got this new card, the Prime Catcher. This card is probably the strongest ace spec that has been released so far. It says switch one of your opponent's bench Pokemon to the active spot, and if you do, switch your active Pokemon with one of your bench Pokemon. So it's like the old supporter Guzma. Hands down, this is probably the strongest, most playable ace spec that has been released so far. And I think it's a lot better than playing Max Belt. I don't see a reason to play Max Belt in this deck if you're going to be playing the Iron Leaves, because really the Max Belt is just for Charizard, it seems. So it's a lot. I think Prime Catcher is just overall the best card to play. Up next, I'm playing 2 stadiums. I'm playing Temple of Sinnoh and 1 Artisan. I could really see going to 2 Sinnohs if Lugia takes off. Artisan is just quite helpful because if you find the Artisan, you can get some of your other basics that can't be found on Buddy Poffin, like the Cram and Sableye if you absolutely need it. It makes it to where you can save your nest balls for finding your Tina Vs if you absolutely just cannot find them. Because I like to save my nest balls for finding the stuff that the Buddy Puffin or something like that can't get. Because I try to be a little conservative with my Pokemon search whenever I can. So let's make some room. Up next, I got the energies. I'm playing 4 grass now, and that's solely because of the Iron Leaves EX. 3 psychics, playing 3 waters, and now I'm only playing 3 jet energies. And I'm only playing the 3 jet energies right now because I'm playing the escape board as an extra, or rescue board, I should say. That's like the one extra switch. So I'm trying out the 3 jets. I haven't missed the 4th one so far. I've really enjoyed playing it with just this energy line. I did add a 3rd water energy. I hadn't been playing a 3rd water like at all before this set. So I've been trying the 3rd water and I really like it because I think the Moonlight Shuriken into a lot of these single prize decks is quite worth it to use sometimes. That way you can take a multi-prize turn. Possible other cards I would consider. I would consider a Manaphy. I still think Manaphy is a scam in this deck. I don't really see a reason why you need it. You can usually play around like a Greninja play a lot of the times. If you play your board right, you can try to avoid a Moonlight Shuriken that can just destroy your entire board state. I got a Ditto here because you can find it off of the Buddy Puffin. The Ditto has this ability called Transformative Start. Once during your turn, if this Pokemon is in the active spot, you can search your deck and choose a basic Pokemon you find there. And if you do, discard this Pokemon and all attached cards and put the chosen Pokemon in its place. I tried it a little bit here and there. It's really nice so you can find your Giratina V if you want to go like on your turn 2 Abyss Seeking turn, just to finish your turn by putting the Ditto in the active, switching it to the Transformative Start, putting in the Tina V, and then just attach Energy Abyss Seek. The next card I'm wanting to mess around with, but it's good in theory, is Choice Belt. And the Choice Belt seems a little weird, but if Arctina becomes super popular, Radiant Gardevoir just feels horrible in this deck if you're not playing the since we don't have the access to the Path to the Peak anymore. The Radiant Gardevoir just makes the matchup just absolutely horrible. So I've been considering the Choice Belt, but it's also it's hard because even if you hit for the 260 into the V-Star, it seems like every time I've done that, they've always had the Turo or the Charon's Care or something like that just to pick it up, and it's just like I just wasted an entire attack. Because you can't really hit the 280 and then bank on cleaning it up with like a Sableye or Cram the next turn. It seems like they always have the healing card. So I've been playing around the idea of the Choice Belt. It seems to be pretty good, especially against the V-Guard energy if Lugia becomes popular. So it might actually be a solid inclusion into the deck. Here's the full deck list uploaded to the Limitless Deck Builder. If any of you guys want to build this in paper and try it for yourself. If you have any questions about the list or maybe any opinions on some cards you might want to see in the list, comment down below. And if you like the video, please like and subscribe.